if you want to be like a getting into film bro kind of person, you want to show this to people and be like, I'm abstract, I understand like artsy stuff.
Yeah.
Anima was directed by Paul Thomas Anderson and features music from Thom Yorke and Thom Yorke himself as, I guess, the main character, the protagonist.
There's guess? Kind of like an abstract music video.
A lot of times with the review, I just think people can like come in and check it out and like see our thoughts on it.
Yeah.
I think this is something worth watching.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
sure.
Most of what we review is worth watching, but in particular,
Right.
I think this is something worth watching and then coming back and viewing. And it's been on Netflix for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
And it's only 15 minutes. It's not going to take that much of your time.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I mean, like it's very low barrier of entry. If you're interested at all, like you got time to watch this. I know you got 15 minutes in your day to watch this.
What do you think about the piece, Braden?
The piece?
What do you think
Very
about
artistic.
Yeah.
The piece.
Yes. What do you think about this piece of art?
I like it. I mean, it's very visual. It's very surreal, very interpretive. Got great music, of course, thanks to Thom Yorke. Is Radiohead involved at all, or is it just like under Thom Yorke?
I think it's just under Thom Yorke, but I mean, it's got that sort of Radiohead vibe to it. It really hits this like sad, emotional. Like, I remember the first time I viewed it, it just really like struck a chord with like a deep part of me.
Of course, as Radiohead does with many boys.
There's a bunch of these people on a train, including Thom Yorke, and they're all sort of like half asleep, like through the monotony of like their everyday lives, I guess. Thom catches an eye of this woman, and you know they get kind of separated, going on their like separate paths, and she leaves behind her bag, and the whole premise of the short film is basically him just trying to get this bag back to her. Pretty simplified version of it.
There's I feel like there's some sort of romantic plot going on here too. Is that correct to say?
Well, let's talk about the title a little bit. Anima. Anima is from Carl Jung.
Right.
The anima is supposed to be like the feminine side within like men, like these like more creative forces and more nurturing side. So on a first viewing, you can sort of interpret it as, oh, this is just like a love story. And it is, but you could even like look at it from the perspective of the title and think like, okay, this is about a man trying to connect with his feminine side, trying to like get in touch with those
His
like,
other, so to speak. Yeah.
Yes. I think a lot of the first part of the movie is him trying to like recapture that sort of like spirit, that creativity within him. Because you'll notice like and also this is all like, there's no dialogue really.
Yeah, I don't know if we mentioned this movie. It's like all an interpretive dance.
Yes.
Sort of like.
Now, have you seen Suspiria, like the reboot for Suspiria?
No, I haven't.
Thom Yorke did the choreography on that. So
Really?
this came after that. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And I'm not like a dance guy, so I don't know if I can say that this is like well choreographed, but I can assume that it is because I'm entranced. It's weird. It's kind of hypnotic when you watch it.
Definitely, everything's very on point, and the dancing, like you said, we're not dance choreographers. We're not into dance in any sort. It's very out of our wheelhouse. But like even I like most of the dance moves usually represent like, you know, human movements and stuff like that. Like on the train, they're kind of like going like this a lot. Like they're, you know, like you said, they're kind of half asleep and stuff like that. They're rolling around the part where he's like rolling with this girl. Like he's like, the girl's right here and he sort of like rolls and like faces her. And then they like, she rolls and face, you know, they kind of do a little like back and forth thing. It's hard to describe, but it kind of, it's like a little dance, but like, the dance moves, it's just conveying like a guy looking at a girl. So the dance moves, you can still get something from it even if you're not into dance. You know?
Yeah. So he keeps trying to return this bag to this woman and he keeps encountering like these little obstacles. Like there's this one part where he sees the bag, or it's like a lunchbox or something. It looks like a lunchbox.
I think it's a bag.
Yeah, but there's a bag and he sees he's going to go for it, and then there's like a bunch of these people like climbing up the building. There's also this weird, like, I don't exactly know how they did the effect, where they're all kind of, it looks like they're going like up sideways, but it's like shot so it looks flat. It's kind of hard to describe unless you watch it.
And there's another moment where they like fall all down. It's clear, there's some very unique like set design and camera, and some mischievous little camera angles here, doing some trick photography. Yeah.
What I like about that scene is that all these people are like moving in synchronicity, and it's all, you know, I guess it's supposed to be a metaphor for like the corporate ladder of life. Like they're all sort of like focused on their individual task of like getting up this hill, and then Thom gets in the way of that just to like to reclaim this bag and return it to this woman.
Breaking out of the mundane.
Yes. And then there's at one point when he's trying to climb up to reclaim it again, and he's getting met with like people falling off the side, and there's like litter coming his way, and he basically just like gives up. He just like throws his hand in the air and he just sits down. And it's not until he stops like constantly pursuing the thing that he wants, this relationship, that it like comes to him. So he wakes up like on a street, and then he sits up, and we get to that part that you're talking about where the man and woman keep like crossing each other. And what I really like about that scene, number one, there's like other interpretive dance people just like rolling in the street like litter. It's just kind of weird background.
Oh, that's what they were supposed to be, like litter?
I don't know. That's kind of what
That's
it
a
seemed
cool
like to me.
interpretation.
Yeah. Or like there's like a bunch of leaves blowing in the distance, and I think those people were just kind of like being the wind.
Okay, I thought it was like just supposed to be more. I thought they were kind of like being romantic, and him and the girl were like sort of dancing. So I thought people were just sort of like freeing themselves around him.
What I like about the man and woman crossing each other down the wall is that you see the look on his face, and it's almost like you see like a whole relationship going by. Like at first you see this part where they're kind of like not apprehensive of each other, but just like testing the waters a little bit. And then as they turn, their faces become more affectionate, more like familiar with each other. And there's even like this really beautiful part where she like kind of pushes him, and it looks like they're having like a bit of an argument, and then she like jumps on his back, and it's very romantic.
And it's almost like you're watching like a montage in a rom-com or something.
Yeah.
But done way better.
Yeah. And then there's like parts with other like couples, I guess, where you see them all like trying to connect. There's this really beautiful shot where they like have their like heads in opposite directions, and they're looking up, and it like makes this weird.
They're all rotating their heads together.
Yeah. I feel like me describing it is not really doing it justice. Like you really have to see it and get immersed in it.
Yeah,
really
don't just watch our review and say you've seen it.
Okay, so as the film kind of comes to a close, you see Thom and the woman get back on the train, which is sort of how they started. And I think there's like a couple of ways to interpret this. There isn't really like a wrong way, I would say. Like I even watched an interview with Thom, and he's like, a lot of times on set we're making decisions and we don't know why.
I've enjoyed not analysing any of the decisions that we're making at all.
I mean, it's an abstract movie,
Yeah.
so why not?
Yeah. So he gets on the train, and we actually see him like speak to her, and he's like saying some of the words from the song, like "Let me know when you've had enough," and then they kind of like do this weird like interconnected thing, and then he like lays down, the lighting changes, and he kind of like wakes up, and it almost feels like it was all a dream.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask you, because I was a bit confused at the end. Not confused, but I had different theories of what it could be. And my initial theory was to think like, oh, they're back on the train, and like we're back where we started. I thought that maybe that meant that like, oh, this was all just happening in his head.
Yeah.
Like none of it meant anything, or well, it means everything about the character, but
Yeah.
it doesn't mean anything. As in,
Yeah, I mean, you can interpret it as almost like he's reminiscing on like a past love or like someone who had died in the past. But really, again, it could just be signifying like his connection to like these deeper, creative, nurturing parts of himself that he's either like closed off access to by like going through the monotony of like day to day and like the daily commute to work. Again, there's like a lot of ways to interpret that. I think this movie is perfect for if you want to be like a getting into film bro kind of person. You want to show this to people and be like, I'm abstract. I understand like artsy stuff.
Yeah.
I think this is a cool thing to show people. I like showing people this who had never seen it. It's just like an easy little thing to kind of put on for people to enjoy, ponder, and then what I like about that is that when you show people stuff like that, it's one of those things that like they're not going to remember initially. Like say it's like someone you meet just one time, right? But then like one day they're going to be like folding laundry, and they're going to be like, what was that weird Radiohead style short film that I saw?
Right.
And that's the thing. This movie leaves you with like a good little experience.
The music's great.
It's great. I haven't listened to the entire album.
Yeah,
but
this is only my second time seeing this, and I haven't listened to the album outside of that.
I've seen this probably about a dozen times now. The song Dawn Chorus, it just brings, I don't know, it's not exactly like a nostalgia, but it's almost like a nostalgia for a life you just like haven't lived yet.
Right. Yeah, I could see that.
I mean, again, Radiohead's known for super sad music.
Yeah, very desperation sort of sounding in it.
Yeah, and if you listen to too much Radiohead, it might rub off on you a little bit.
Of course.
But I think this is beautiful. well shot, well directed, well choreographed, and like we said, there's such a low barrier to entry because of the time that I didn't feel like a moment was wasted.
Yeah, I was entertained the entire time. There's 3 tracks in this?
Yes.
Yeah, so you're going to get 3 good Radiohead songs out of this with some like really interesting interpretive dance. It's not like anything you've probably seen before.
Yeah.
And so this is a definite recommendation from me.
Yes, I give it a strong recommendation.
Well, let's rate this.
Let's give it a rating.
Okay.
Okay, you go.
All right, I'll go first.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to give Anima a 5 out of 5. I think it's perfect. It does what it needs to do. No time wasted. Sometimes with a 15-minute short film, you feel like there's time wasted because you kind of I like that 5-minute short film just a bit more. It's quick. But in this, it never felt like time was wasted. Constantly intriguing, like nothing I've ever seen before.
I'm going to concur with you, Braden. I'm going to give Anima a 5 out of 5. It's interesting, it's meditative, and you can watch it a couple of times and pull different things from it. And it's not asking a lot of you, it's just asking you to sit back and watch some weird interpretive dance. And even compared to older Radiohead music videos, because after I didn't know about Radiohead until I saw this.
Wait, really?
I knew Creep, but I didn't listen to Radiohead.
Okay.
I think this sort of took me down the Radiohead rabbit hole at one point. So I watched this, and then I watched, I think it's called I can't remember the name. It's a old Radiohead short film that's a bunch of their music videos back to back, and it really sort of introduced me to their weird style and artistic vision.
Yeah.
I've kind of stopped listening to Radiohead in the last couple years.
You've gotten happier or something?
Yeah, I think my life's improved.
Okay.
But no, again, Anima, great recommendation. Go watch it. It's been on Netflix. What are you doing? Go watch it. You should have watched it already. Why didn't you watch it already? I don't know. Go watch it. Oh yeah, we should also probably bid the video. Bid-a-da-do. Okay, computer, I guess I'll watch Anima. No surprises there.
Don't call the karma police.
How to disappear completely? Start listening to Radiohead.
I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo.